Hey, this is Daryl Henry, and this video is how to get started as a commercial insurance producer because it can be very overwhelming. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to develop long term goals and then back that into what you need to be doing on a weekly basis. This is the framework that I use. I revisit it quarterly to make sure that I'm staying on track with where I want to go. And it helps stay focused and stay targeted in the right direction because I'll tell you, as a producer, especially as a commercial insurance producer, it's really hard because the world is your oyster. You can practically do anything you want to do, but you can't do everything and be great at it. You can only be great at a few select things. So, this framework is going to help you stay on track. It's going to help you do what you need to do so that at the end of the day, you can hit validation and then long term do even more, become $1 million, $2 million, $3 million producer. So, first thing, validation. Everybody's validation number is a little bit different. Everybody has different time frames. I just used 3 years and $150,000 in revenue because that's about what I've heard in a number of places as a validation number. And what we're going to do with that is we are going to take this number, and if this isn't your number, just put your number in. And if you're going to have more time or less time, you change the numbers, but that's going to help you figure out what you need to sell in terms of revenue. These are all revenue numbers: year one, year two, and year three. This is helping you lay out benchmarks. Now, these are just numbers on a page. That's not helping a whole lot yet to get into tactical elements of what it's going to take for you to win and hit those numbers. So these are some of the things that I wrote down that if I was going to go back and restart, these are the things that I would be doing myself. And when I have restarted niches, these are the things that I have done. So if you're going to generate revenue numbers, and in the end, I think you're going to want to generate higher revenue numbers than this, you're going to have niche mastery. You're going to have subject matter expertise in multiple niches, which is hard because right now you may have none. You're going to need to have a sales system that you know works, and you're going to need to have mastery over your weekly schedule. And honestly, it's not much more complicated than that. I mean, there's things you do have to get good at. There's a lot of depth to the job, but if you can do these things, you're going to be fine. You're going to get where you need to go. So now we know where we need to be in 3 years. Let's talk about where we need to get in 1 year. $40,000 in revenue. This is a simple math equation. You got to figure out how many accounts are you going to write and what's going to be the revenue per account. Now, as you're doing this, I do recommend you think with the end in mind that you as an individual person are only going to be able to handle so many accounts. And if you write a lot of small accounts in the beginning, over the long term, it will weigh you down. You will either have to shed those accounts or you're going to have to accept a lower ceiling. So if you can target a higher revenue per account, that's going to help you in the long run. And when I say higher, I mean more than $2,500 in revenue. And maybe that's reflecting something about where I come from as a producer and the type of agency that I work in. I know that there are some shops that won't even touch an account unless it's $10,000 in revenue. But if you're in a small to medium sized shop with no minimum revenue threshold, you still should set one for yourself. And $2,500 revenue per account, that's a in most situations that's a business with $1 million in revenue and a couple vehicles. It's not that high of a bar. When you think about number of accounts you're going to write, look around at the agency. How many accounts are other producers writing at Bittner Henry Insurance? It's about 40. And they get a number of inbound leads, but the revenue per account's a little bit smaller. So when you're doing your math, figure that out. Now, in the first year, things that you should be really working on and focusing on. By the end of the year, you'll be doing really well if you've got one niche you feel really good about. One niche that you can take it to the bank, that you know if you get in the door on this account, this type of account, it's your bread and butter. You've got a really good chance to win. You want that level of confidence going into year two because that's what you can build off of. Once you have that first niche, it's a lot easier to get the second niche. Getting that first niche is kind of scary and hard. And so there's a couple of different ways that you can identify those niches. I recommend that you look at what your agency's doing well. You look at what you know and then build off of that. But at the end of the year, you should know that business inside and out, know the insurance marketplace and all the relevant coverages for that niche. And the thing is, if you focus on one niche, it's a lot easier to say, I'm going to do all these things because it's one. If you're saying, I'm going to learn construction and then even get more specific than that and say, I'm going to do electrical contractors, if you can support yourself on that, well, that's one type of business you need to learn. That's not that many different types of coverages. That's not that many different types of businesses. It's not that much vocabulary. It's one. And that's how you're going to make your life a lot simpler versus if you're going to try and generalize and do electrical contractors and then, oh yeah, I'm going to go do real estate and then I'm going to do churches. Now I'm going to do trucking. You're going to sound like a person that doesn't know much about all of those things. So stay focused. Pick one and build off of that. And pick one that you think you have based on the experience of the agency, you've got 90% chance of having a competitive product. So at the end of the year, you're also going to want to have a sales system that you have adopted, incorporated, and you're learning. I don't care if it's dynamics of sales, if you're using due diligence from Max Revenue, if you're working with Charles Specht or Nick Goby, you need to have one that you work with and that you are taking to the bank. If you don't have a good, solid sales system, you're going to have a really hard time getting prospects to take your call, get the appointment, move them through the sales cycle, and get the deal closed. And I've just got to tell you, listen to producers about sales, not so much company people. Keep in mind that when company reps are talking to you about all the things that they can do and all the different coverages, what they're trying to win is your headspace, not so much the customers. They are looking at you as the broker, as the person that's going to help place the business. And so they're trying to win your attention. That is the things that you care about are not necessarily the things that the customer cares about. What the customer cares about is how you're going to help them improve their business. Period, full stop, end of story. And unfortunately, they just don't connect coverages to that very often. They just don't care all that much. They want to pay less. They want to have a more efficient business. They want to have more revenues, less expenses. That's what they want. That's not how most of our underwriters and company reps talk. That's not the way they talk about the product, the features and benefits of the insurance product. Most customers aren't going to care about that. So you've got to find a sales system that's going to help you connect what the companies are selling to what they actually care about. Okay. And these guys all do a great job. I've incorporated all of those things at different points in time. Find one you like, use it. So now that we know what we're going to try and accomplish in 12 weeks, let's talk about, what you're going to do in a year. Let's talk about what you're going to get done in the next 12 weeks, your first 12 weeks. One, you're going to pick a niche you're going to try. And you're going to stay. If you're going to do multiple niches, that's probably a good idea, just in case one of those niches doesn't work out, because you're going to try things and it will fail. That doesn't mean you failed. That just means that we've got to experiment. But if you're going to do multiple niches within an industry, I recommend you try and stay within one industry. So if you're going to do construction, do plumbing, trades, and GCs, but don't try and do commercial real estate, churches, and trucking. That's too much. Stay within either manufacturing or construction or real estate and pick 3 sub niches within that industry. It's going to limit how much you need to learn. And when you've picked that niche, learn everything possible about that niche. Listen to the podcasts, that they would listen to podcasts that are specifically designed for your niche. Go find those, listen to those, hear what they're talking about, learn what they're talking about, learn their pains and their vocabulary, read books that are designed for them, and do that in your free time at night. What you want to do is transform yourself into something that looks like your target prospect, because people buy from other people that they know, like, and trust, or that look like them, that sound like them. So, what you need to do is look and sound like your prospects. You do that by absorbing all the information that they are absorbing. That's how you do it. And you can only really do one at a time. Otherwise, it's way too much information. Once you've been in the game long enough, you have this broader set of knowledge that you can pull off of that makes it easier to stack information. But when you're just getting started, there's too much to learn. Focus on one thing. So then once you've identified that niche and you're working a niche based on what your agency does well, what you know, and something that's going to help you hit your sales goals. So if you need to hit $40,000 in revenue and all the prospects in this niche pay $200 in revenue, that's all it's going to generate. That's not going to help you get where you need to go. When you're building a list, use something like Insurance X-Date, Dun& Bradstreet, Zoom Info, or Reference USA through your library. It's cheap, it's free. Download that list. You pick your sales system and you start to learn it. So now we're talking about the things that you're learning. You're learning your customer, you're figuring out how to find them, you're picking your sales system so that you know how you're going to position yourself and how you're going to win the account. And then you set your calendar, your weekly calendar that's going to position you for success every week. I can tell you every week what I'm going to do within certain time blocks. This is one of the hardest things to do. And you can spend a lot of time just on this. But if you're not careful, people will pull your time in 100 different directions. And what you have to do is find a way to keep your calendar very focused so that you stay on track. Let's put it this way. You can only make so many decisions in a day. The more decisions that you try to make, the more fatigued you're going to be at the end of the day. The less decisions you make, the easier it's going to be for you to make complex decisions. So manage this part of your life. Do the same things at the same time every week and make people, as much as possible, fit into your calendar. So for me, Monday morning is admin. Monday afternoon, I'm talking to prospects and customers. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning, cold calling. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoon, I'm doing reviews. I'm doing prospect meetings. So I'm doing my interview calls. I'm doing my needs analysis. I'm doing my pitch meetings. Friday morning, more cold calls and pitch meetings. Friday afternoon, I'm cleaning up. And then I do all my content-based stuff before 8:30 a.m. and on Saturdays. That's when I do it. That's how I do it every week. I do the same things at the same time every week. You got to come up with that same calendar. You also have to figure out how you're going to do your outreach. And I'm going to tell you, get comfortable with the phone. Like, I've talked to plenty of producers that say, well, I feel like I'm just better in person, so I want to do drop-ins. Drop-ins are great. Drop-ins will help you open the door in a lot of situations, but it's not really scalable, especially if you're going to have to cover a broad geography. You're going to have to get comfortable with multiple mediums. So phone, email is much more scalable than phone. Phone is much more scalable than drop-ins. They all have their place, but you're going to have to figure out how to incorporate all of them. And then identify an underwriter, wholesaler, or company rep that can teach you the coverages you need to know about that niche. And really focus on an underwriter or a wholesaler. This is a great trick because underwriters and wholesalers know all the coverages. They know everything that you need to know about that product. They know all the players. They can teach you those things. So if you've got your sales guru that's going to help you teach you how to sell, you got your coverage guru over here that's going to teach you all the coverages. Those things are going to work together really well. Now, don't listen to underwriters about how to sell. They typically don't know. Salespeople hit and miss about coverage expertise. But you put it together. That's how you develop niche mastery. So if you do these 6 things to hit the ground running, I'm going to guarantee you after 12 weeks, you're going to feel like you are getting somewhere. And then what you do after 12 weeks is you revisit the plan. You look at what's working, what's not working, and you rewrite your 12-week goals at that point based on what you need to do in order to hit your 3-year goals. All right, guys. I hope that was helpful. I hope this helps you get started in your journey to becoming a commercial insurance producer. If you've got any questions, message me on LinkedIn, email me. My contact information is at my website, insuranceforentrepreneurs.net. And if this is helpful, please hit like and subscribe. It helps other people like you find the content. I'm going to find a way to get this document posted on my website if you want to download it and tweak it for your own purposes. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please go build